Hey, how are you? I'm JP Sears, and I'm wondering, have you ever lost your psychological sanity trying to follow the nutritional insanity available today, where all the confusion, conflict of various diet and nutrition philosophies actually start to degrade our mental and emotional health while we're walking a path of nutrition trying to improve our health? What we're doing, we're attempting to walk our health a couple steps forward. But the question I have for you is the level of psychological stress that you are perhaps causing yourself. What happens if that takes you 3 steps backwards? So I'd like to share with you some strategies that I use with my clients when they need to help recover their peace of mind that they've lost trying to help themselves with nutrition. With all the nutritional conflict out there, it's actually incredibly easy to lose our minds trying to follow it all, trying to find the one true path. What is the right nutritional philosophy? It's like we're standing in the middle of a circle and there's 360 different variations of nutritional philosophy. All of them conflict with each other. All of them have proof that their philosophy is right, and all of them have proof that most of the other philosophies are wrong. There we sit in the circle of self-imposed torture, trying to figure out what's the right diet. Why do we assume there's only one dietary truth out there? When we look at the 360 degrees of dieting in this circle, what happens if we find out they're all true? That explains a lot of the frustration. That means if they all have legitimate truth to them, that means we're looking for a needle in a haystack. The haystack's made out of needles, but we take on mission impossible in our minds that creates a mentally insane scenario where we're trying to find the one needle in a haystack made of countless needles. It can drive us absolutely insane. How can you and I learn to ask, what is the right diet for my body at this time? Perhaps we look at them as tools. They all have the right time and the right place. The question is not whether or not they're valid. The question might be, are they valid for me? Am I at the right place, and is it the right time for me to be using this diet? Otherwise, we're swimming upstream. We consider, should I be a vegan, or no, a raw vegan, or a vegetarian? Or should I be a veterinarian, because that kind of rhymes? Or should I be a carnivore or a raw carnivore? Should I eat the Primal Blueprint diet, the Metabolic Typing Diet? Should I eat the Penguin Diet? I think I'm just making that one up. The first consideration I'd like to ask you to think about is that you are your dietary authority. Please consider that there is no author, no authority, no teacher, no genius, no mad scientist who knows your body better than you potentially can know your body. Your body's unique needs that can change from moment to moment, because the only thing about the body that never changes is the fact that everything's always changing. Nobody can be more in tune with that than you. So the question is, are you in tune with it? Or do you need to take strides to become in tune with it? If we don't learn to listen to the wisdom of our body, then oftentimes what I see is we're left making our dietary choices based on which author or which authority has the most charm. Which one can speak their story with more convincing language? Which one comes across as more of an authoritarian figure? Which one can defend their diet more? In other words, we'll make our dietary choices based on the author who has the most convincing, charismatic closed-mindedness. I consider this to actually be a very dangerous way to feed ourselves when we believe based on the author's charismatic influence. How can we avoid that? Listen to the direct, charismatic signals that your body is always feeding you about what your nutritional needs are. When we can do that, I consider it a wonderful idea to burn every single nutrition book we've ever read. Why? Because they won't be any more in tune with you than you are. 2, it'll save us lots of potential stress that we'll be putting ourselves under trying to find the right philosophy, the right dietary philosophy that our belief systems can attach to. Speaking of attachment, the second strategy I'd ask you to consider is to be very non-attached to dietary philosophies. Look at all of them as truthful tools. The question I want to ask myself is this tool's time and place in my life right now? The difference between looking at a dietary strategy as a philosophy versus a tool. A philosophy is something we'll typically be very attached to, and oftentimes we'll actually be willing to die for the philosophy. Hence we have religious wars, philosophical differences. If we can be unemotionally charged about our dietary philosophy, if we're willing to look at the positives and the negatives of any dietary philosophy, preferably call it a strategy, not a philosophy. I'm breaking my own rule now. Apparently I don't play by anybody's rules, not even my own. If Einstein was right that we live in a relative world, and that seems relatively true for me, then that would mean any dietary strategy has relative good points and relative bad points. That's why it's so easy to create conflicting research. If I want to prove your dietary philosophy wrong, it's not that hard. I can come up with relative negative aspects of it, and I can pretend the positive ones don't exist. And you can do the same with my nutritional strategies. But we get to pierce through all that if we can practice the mindset of being non-attached to any nutritional strategy. Let it come for the time that it serves us, and let it go. Whether it's a minute later, a day later, a year later, as soon as it's no longer serving us, do you have the strength and courage to let it go so that you can take on a strategy that will serve you better based on what your body needs right now?